to another One Thing. My name is Neil Bauer. I am your host. I'm joined again by the lovely Kim and Jody from ePayments. A fresh approach to payments. Today we are with a very special guest that I am beyond happy to introduce to everybody. A wonderful actor, writer, director. He teaches acting classwork. Wonderful person that I am more than happy to be acquainted with. I can't say friends because your brother will kill me. Jack Plotnick.
Hello, everyone out there. Thank you for those very beautiful words. I think we hit it all. I think you skipped gadabout.
Oh, I knew there was one. There was
gadfly, but it's a lot of labels, and that's important to be a well-rounded person who is a whole bunch of different things. Because as humans, we're all one, so we sort of share everything in common with everyone. You could be anything.
The ways I got introduced to you was you were in a film. It's just still one of my favorite films of all time. And I'm not just saying that. I have actively promoted this. I've tweeted this. I've shared this with everybody I can. One of my favorite roles of yours is Girls Will Be Girls.
That's because you are a deranged and sick person.
This is not my one thing, but I want to ask about Girls Will Be Girls. How did Evie come about? Like, I only know Evie from that, but apparently Evie has a much deeper history.
Well, Girls Will Be Girls is a movie I produced and starred in, and I play an 80 to 100-year-old washed-up actress, alcoholic, and my friend Richard Day wrote and directed it, and it's very John Waters. If you like really edgy humor, you'll enjoy it. There's no one better at writing a joke than Richard Day, and it's got the quotable lines in this movie come fast and furious.
I was so busy being an astrophysicist.
But what Richard did was he took these characters. All the women in the movie are played by men. So he knew that I had a character named Evie that I would do in my comedy sketch shows. It was just one of many characters I'd been doing in my comedy shows. And then he took these two performers who also play women, although they do it more exclusively, Miss Coco Peru and Varla Jean Merman. And they're both incredible characters and very talented, funny performers. And he put all three of us together, kind of almost like the Golden Girls, But I had been doing Evie, she was just one of my characters, but I really enjoyed doing her. And we made a film where Evie is on Hollywood Boulevard looking for her star because she wants to shine her star. She can't find it because in the end, she doesn't have one. But anyway, so that film took off in the gay film festivals. And so she started to have this sort of life, but then Richard immortalized her, thank goodness. And I'm just so proud of that movie. Yeah.
I love that. I was watching some of the things that you were doing during COVID with the Imagineers, and I thought that was so cool. And when you would dress up like the woman, like what goes into your mind? And this is not my one question, but like when you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to insert myself into this video, but this needs to be a woman. But then I saw in the other one where you're like, no, I'm going to be a man. So what inspires you to even say, oh, well, this needs Evie or this needs this person?
Well, I like to do everything. So if there's a video where I can play a woman and a man, I will. But anyway, what happened with that was that I was freaking out about quarantine, as we all were, and I was watching a lot of Disney videos to just sort of escape my life, and going down YouTube wormholes, and I discovered those old Wonderful World of Disney episodes where I'd never seen it. Walt Disney is like showing his audience the rides he's creating for his new amusement park, Disneyland, and I wanted to escape into these videos, escape my reality. But then on top of that, one of the videos had an Imagineer who looked just like me. Now, I've always been obsessed with Imagineers. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an Imagineer. What could be better, right? Yeah. So anyway, that was what gave me the idea. I said, wait a minute, he looks like me. I could be him. And while I was doing that, I realized it was a fun way for me to get to make fun of the rides or the sort of 1960s patriarchal misogyny that you could sort of smell under the surface of these videos. And then I would just start being the different people I'd see in the background of the videos. And a lot of them were women. And then I started to realize, well, these these women, these Imagineers, they're not given any time to talk on screen. So I was like, well, let's explore what she would say if the camera lingered on her. And so that's how that happened.
It was so funny, your expressions and how you think it would be this, but then you're like, how do I know you? Oh, I think it's going to go into, you think you're going to tell some story and you're like, oh, I went to grade school. Okay, great. Let's move on. And I was just like, what? Wait, what? And so I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to make. And I think there's about 5 of them out there people can watch if you're curious. Yeah, it's been thrilling, but the best part is when Imagineers actually like reach out to me, and people who know Imagineers, like, to me, that's like, they say that when one of my videos come out, this group of Imagineers will all get together and watch it. And for me, that makes my head explode, because I love Disney and I love Imagineers. And so even though I'm poking fun at it, they can tell it's out of love. The
original people that you were inspired by are now inspired by you.
Oh, well, they're definitely, they seem to be tickled by, they never thought that I would give voice to the original Imagineers, Harriet Burns, Mary Blair, Blaine Gibson. It's like, why would anyone do that?
Yeah. That's awesome. By the way, I have a massive Disney library up here. I started off as an animator, so unsung heroes of that world, like in Imagineering, yeah, all of the people behind the scenes crafting all of that, nobody knows who they are. So thank you for bringing attention to that.
I love art. I love artists. And I love anything that empowers them or kind of inspires other people to be artistic.
That's a perfect transition, because artists are different. Like a painter is far different than an actor. So you're always transitioning from theater to screen to writer. A lot of people have difficulty interacting with other groups, talking with other people, or kind of getting outside their comfort zone. What's the one thing you'd recommend, because you have so many different interactions at so many different levels with so many different people, what's the one thing you'd recommend to people who are having difficulty transitioning from one group to another?
I think while there's absolutely truth to the fact that when you're interacting with a new group, they have a language and they have things you might not know, but I would recommend just kind of not focusing on that and remembering that you know everything you need to know, and then there's more you can learn. But the trick for me to jump from, let's say, I was working as a film actor, and then all of a sudden I was directing a Broadway musical, was for me to not see it as a different thing, but to see it as part of who I am. And that is, I label myself not as a film actor or a Broadway director, I label myself as joyful creator. And so everything I do falls very easily into that category. So I wasn't daunted by being tasked to suddenly direct a Broadway musical, because it's what I've always done my whole life. And the thing that you're on earth to do, you've been doing since the start. And like, even as a 4th grader, I was a joyful creator. And then I got involved in different avenues where I could do that. And so what you want to do is, if you're interacting with a new group, is to first off get rid of your anxiety about feeling like an outsider, because that anxiety will make it difficult for you to be joyful and present when you talk with them. And so I have a free book for actors on my website that shares everything I teach. But one of the things I teach is, for instance, actors, is to say to yourself, I'm not an actor. Because if you think you're an actor, all of a sudden the pressure to have trained for 20 years and to know all the secrets that actors know. I just say to myself, you know what? I release and destroy my need to be an actor. I'm not an actor. I'm just here to be me and play in the circumstances. And so it is and whenever you're entering a new work environment, you'd probably want to say, you know what? My anxiety is coming from the fact that I'm afraid that I don't know enough about, let's say, publicity. So just say to yourself, look, I don't need to. There's nothing I need to know, but I'm open to learning, And so, but I belong here because they all came to this different ways. We all think there's only one way to become a publicity person or one way to become an actor. It's like everybody gets their own unique journey, and not everyone has read the same books or trained with the same teacher. And personally, I don't think you have to train at all. Like, I never took a single class in screenwriting, but I wrote and directed a feature film. I never took a single class, because I know that art is passed down through the experience of it. So watching a movie, you sort of know everything you need to know to make your own, but there are things you can learn. if you want to, but you don't have to. So am I starting to answer your question?
You got it. You said it before you even started answering the question. We are all one. Like, that is why I was saying, like, I think you answered my question right in the gate.
I think this kind of leads into my thing. When I was thinking about you, Jack, and seeing how creative you are, I heard a quote on a podcast today, and it's by Johann Wolfgang. And it says, few people have the imagination for reality. And I thought, whoa, that's pretty interesting. And we're talking about Imagineers. Yes, right. And you are such a creative. I want to know how you take being creative and playing a role, because I think we all play roles in life every day. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a friend, I'm these things. But how would you tell people to try and live their regular day-to-day life creatively and with imagination?
Wow, that's a great question. Well, okay, so let's see. So I'm a big believer in seeing a therapist when you're feeling down or depressed. And that tends to happen in my life every 10 years. I'll start to have some negative thoughts that get me down. And when I turned 50, that happened. And I knew, and I was feeling I was feeling a little depressed. So I went to this therapist, and he got me to stop listening to my vulture, my ego telling me, you wasted all your chances and you're ugly, or whatever my vulture was saying. He got me to stop listening to it. And he got me to believe in myself again, and to see that I'm special in the way that every human is. We're fucking magic, right?
Yeah.
All of us. It's crazy.
Right.
And he got me to see the magic in me, and he reminded me to shine my light. And the thing about shining your light is, when you do what you love for the love of it, you remind people the nature of love and give them permission to do the same. So if I'm putting myself on film, tickling myself and just doing something because I want to do it, not because I need eyes on me, but because I find this funny, or I had a need to say something. It's almost like you want to envision yourself. I don't do this consciously, but you want to imagine that it's almost like you're an angel in disguise. And by experiencing love in front of people, and that could be your love for cooking, your love for being a mother, your love for your job, you remind people that they can love their life, and you give them permission to do so. So the concept I shared with you about the concept that we're angels in disguise, that's from Marianne Williamson, who's one of the many self-help gurus that have really enriched my life.
Marianne Williamson, the politician.
So she was a politician late in life. Her whole life, she's been an incredible self-help guru, and her tapes of her lectures absolutely changed my life in my late 20s. I would listen to them constantly, and
Me too.
Me too.
That's so
Make
cool.
Miracles. You got to go read her stuff.
Return to love.
I find her easier to listen to than read, but I love her work. But, they're all saying the same thing. You can get it through Eckhart Tolle or Louise Hay, whoever you feel like. They're all saying the same thing, as is every religion is trying to say the same thing, which is love,
Yes.
Choose love over fear.
Yes.
And that's what I teach actors.
Love is key. And that kind of leads into my question. I also think another key in life is humor. And you obviously have been gifted with the ability to make people laugh. And Kim and I are kind of in a little bit of a stiff industry in the financial world. What would be the one thing you would give as a piece of advice if you're trying to incorporate humor into just like a meeting or your daily interactions with people?
Okay, so humor is whatever tickles you. Like, you can never make people laugh by trying to make them laugh. It's the worst way to go about it. If you're tickled, then the people around you are tickled. And so, number one, I would just remind yourself to release and destroy your need to be funny, and just say, look, I want to be here today, and I want to be tickling myself. And tickling yourself is simply tickling yourself with the honesty of whatever's happening in that moment. It's not about being clever or creative. It's about just what honestly is going on. As an actor, I tickle myself with my genuine human behavior. That's what an actor is tickling themselves with, because humans are weird. We just are, and our behavior is weird. And so to incorporate humor, the first step, I would say, to get control of your vulture, because if you're entering a meeting with your ego or your vulture saying to you, you need to be perfect, you need to impress these people. These people are probably thinking that they don't like you. These are all the self-defeating thoughts your vulture says. So I recommend you get control of your vulture so that, because then you're living in pure bliss, because we are so, that's how you return to the secret to happiness, which is to be grateful, is to get that vulture to shut up, because then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm alive, I'm on earth, this is fucking amazing, you know? And so to get control of your vulture, it's like the first 2 chapters of my free book on my website, which we could maybe share at the end. So if you're curious, well, Jack, how do I get control of my vulture? It's right there at the start of my free book. But anyway, so you'd want to get rid of that vulture so that you can, you know, people use the word present. I don't like to use that, because basically present is what we always are when our vulture isn't squawking. So it's really just about returning to love or to being alive and grateful for it. And then to just say, I don't need anything from these people, but I'm in a good mood. And if something pops into my head that's honest and makes me, sort of tickles me, I can verbalize it. And if they don't laugh, that's fine. But by me, it being in a good mood and tickling myself, I remind them that life isn't so dire.
I love that. That's perfect.
That is fabulous. We're all friends here. Do we all have alter egos? Because my vulture is actually, I don't know if you've ever watched South Park.
Yeah.
You know, the sister with the headgear on, Shelly, who's always angry and yelling. When my vulture starts talking, it's Shelly. I'm like, there she is.
That's great.
Boy.
Yeah, no, a lot of people talk about this concept. There's an actor from Saturday Night Live who talks about this concept, but he calls it his monkey. But in the end, what it is it's our ego, and your ego is the half of you that wants you to fail. And our job as humans on earth is to get control of our thoughts so that we can experience love on earth, and not the focus on the dark or fears. Because what you focus on gets stronger. So the darkness or the fears, they'll always be there. There'll always be shitty things happening. And I'm not saying to ignore them. We'll always be aware they're there, but just where you put your focus determines your experience of life. So don't focus on Shelly, and just laugh at her and go, and I love that you'd made her Shelly, so you could just laugh and just go, oh, Shelly. Very powerful. I like that.
Anyways, ladies, I thank you so much for joining. Jack, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you jumping in. This is wonderful. And I look forward to promoting the book.
Okay, so the book is at my website, jackplotnick.com. It's very easy to find the ebook there. Also at that website, you could watch all my YouTube comedy videos, but they're also on my YouTube channel, which is, if you just Google Jack Plotnick. If you want to see the Disney videos, type in Jack Plotnick Disney on YouTube and you'll see them all. Yeah, and so the book is called New Thoughts for Actors, but the first 2 sections are for anyone who wants to learn how to get control of their vulture.
I'm putting it all down below.
Girls Will Be Girls is now streaming on all outlets, a new high-def version, so we're real happy about that. And the movie that I co-wrote and directed is called Space Station 76. It stars Patrick Wilson from Insidious, Matt Bomer, Liv Tyler, Jerry O'Connell. It's a dark comedy about people living in space in the 1970s. So it's sort of like suburbia in space.
That's fabulous.
Again, I cannot recommend Girls Will Be Girls enough, but Space Station 76 is fantastic, as is Rubber, as is, hang on a sec. Oh my gosh, the one with the dog. It looks like a... Wrong, thank you. Yeah. It was too long of a title for me to remember it.
Well, thank you guys. I feel honored to have been included, and this was super fun to chat with you today, and I loved your questions.
Thank you so much for being part of it. You were wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm going to go tickle myself.
Please.
All right.